Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to bring you another episode of the Spotlight series, this time on local land trusts and conservation organizations, where we celebrate the incredible work that these people do to make our community truly exceptional and afford us all the ability to participate in the natural outdoor space. So today we're thrilled to share this spotlight on Janet Milkman from the Barnstable Land Trust. Janet, thank you so much for being with us. We are very excited to hear about your story and for you to share all of this information with us. So if you don't mind, let's get right into it and let's start off by you telling us a little bit about you and maybe the history of BLT.
Sure. I'm Janet Milkman. I'm the Executive Director of Barnstable Land Trust. Very delighted to be here today. Carla, you're a great partner, and the Nordic Walkers of Cape Cod have been wonderful partners. So very happy to be having this conversation today. Barnstable Land Trust is one of many land trusts on Cape Cod. We work mostly in the town of Barnstable, but also work outside where asked and needed. We have been around since 1983, and I'm actually the second executive director. Jackie Barton was our founding executive director, and she was here for 35 years, and I stand on her shoulders. So it's been a wonderful experience for me. I've been here for 8 years now, and we've really done a lot of so fun things and got a lot of great new partners and new trails and new properties, and it's been a really fun experience.
And the nice thing is, purely selfishly, we have benefited from your passion and the fact that you love what you do. And it comes across, it really does. I mean, it's not a job when you like what you're doing, right? I mean, it really is truly a pleasure. Let's start by talking a little bit about what upcoming land projects for 2025 that you have coming, because I know you have some exciting news coming. And I think for those members that have followed you, this will be good for them to know. But I know that out of our 3,200 members, there is a lot of people that perhaps don't know
Oh
about
yeah,
royalties. So,
right. Well, we just a little more background. We have 1,250 acres that we are responsible for keeping in conservation, and everything that we conserve forever. So it's a lifelong commitment and well beyond generations beyond me and our team here. And so, I mean, that is one of the things that makes it so special to work here and to be part of this organization is that there's very few things you can do that you're doing in perpetuity, that you actually have a real legacy. So every piece of land that we protect, we know that it's not going to get developed ever in its lifetime. So the projects that we have on our front burner right now are many. We have three projects in Katuitt. One is we're calling the Santuit Woodlands project, which is a 6-acre parcel right next to the Villaggio restaurant on 28. And it backs up onto another property that we own called the service property, which means that we're going to be able to put a wonderful neighborhood walking trail through there. It's a really important property because it sits in a zone 2, which means a water supply protection area for the Katuitt Water District. And so protecting the land protects the water underneath. If it's developed, there's a lot of pavement that causes runoff and is just not as healthy for the aquifer underneath. But if you leave it open and woodland like we have now, that water is protected forever. And the woods are just a great filtration system for the water underneath that we drink. So that's one project. The next Katuitt project is we're calling the Captain's Woods, which is on Putnam Ave, and we often partner with the town of Barnstable when we do these projects. So in this case, we worked with the town of Barnstable to allow them to acquire the property. It's about 10 acres right next to and across from Mosswood Cemetery, and it sort of completes really an 800-acre conservation area that includes Eagle Pond and Bell Farm and the Katuitt Water District land behind it, and Lowell Park Woodlands, which BLT owns, and the cemeteries as well. So the the vision for that property is to use some of it for a cemetery for the town, but BLT is going to put a conservation restriction on half of it and sort of complete a missing puzzle piece of the wonderful Katuitt conservation areas. And then the final one in Katuitt is really an amazing project for us and a new kind of project. We are purchasing the Highground golf course, which has been a family-owned golf course for, I think, close to 75 years, owned by the Hare family. And, you know, their interest and the community's interest was in really at least keeping it from becoming a housing development, but ideally keeping it as a golf course. So at least for 5 years after we buy it, it will remain a community golf course. And after that, it's possible that the lease will be extended, or eventually it will become a lovely public open space park, possibly with a nature center. And it's also, you know, for decades been the community's favorite sledding hill. So that is preserved forever as well once we finish that project.
Is the
Any
most
questions
unique
there?
project. I mean, honestly, I hope you have a good golf game. I just started golfing, and that is amazing. You know what really resonated with me was the fact that there's very few things in life that you can leave forever, other than your children, your grandchildren, etc. And tell me a little bit, more about, I mean, the Katuitt community is obviously very generous, but you must work these relationships all the time. So let's say that I had a piece of land, no matter what the size was, and I wanted to do something to play it forward for generations to come. How would I go about that?
Yeah, just talk to us. I mean, it's not every project that has great conservation value, but it could still have great value to BLT. I'll just give you two examples. I had a call recently from a woman who wanted to leave us her home, which is on about less than an acre. And she said, you know, it's pretty developed. Is it still valuable to you? And we said, absolutely, it's still valuable to us. We won't take the house down because housing is desperately needed here. We might use it as a house, but we also might sell it and use the proceeds to buy open land. So that's one kind of example. And another example is a project we're doing right now in Marston's Mills with a woman who wants to make, she lives on 6 acres. It backs up onto school open space, ball fields. And she wants to make sure that after she passes, that no one comes in and puts a whole bunch of houses on that property. Um, she has one house on it. So what we're doing is we're putting a conservation restriction on the back 4 acres. And so no matter who owns that property, it's never going to be developed, the back 4 acres, which is a lovely wooded lot leading to backing up on a trail, and just a wonderful addition for the neighborhood. So there's a lot of different ways to make this happen, and we are very creative. There's some incentives at the state level so that you can actually get a big tax credit, which often means, if you don't owe a lot of taxes, it means you get a check in the mail from the state for restricting your land from development forever. And like I said before, these restrictions last in perpetuity. So
That is just amazing. And it's so innovative, right? I mean, We all know that we're having housing issues on the Cape and in other places. But yeah, it's almost like a balance. How do you do more housing? That's so very much needed, and yet conserve the natural beauty of the Cape for not just our kids and our grandkids, but for us, right? I mean, hopefully we all have many, many years left to enjoy this. So I have been on numerous of your trails. I've been to your headquarters. I've been to the barn where I've done some presentations. Um, what other measures are you putting in place to ensure some accessibility for some people that may be a little older or maybe disabled? Is there
Yeah.
anything you're doing or part of your plan for every little thing that you do that you think keep those things in mind?
Yeah. Well, we do keep it in mind all the time, and we have, volunteers who help us maintain our trails. So when we're building a new trail, they're out there, and I witnessed this with the Lowell Park Woodlands Trail, which is one of our newer ones in Katuitt. Every route is cut so that the trail is as flat as possible, so that there's very little to trip on. And we are aiming to make more of our trails actually much more friendly to those with wheelchairs or difficulty walking in other ways. So, for example, behind our office, the Pogrelk Sanctuary, half of that trail is going to become all access. So we're just in the permitting process now, but we'll put on an appropriate surface on the trail, we'll widen it, and we will take care to comply with all the safety regulations to make sure that it is a safe trail. People use it now with walkers, so we know that it's a good candidate for a trail. And we also worked on our trail right next to the barn at Fuller Farm. It was very steep and rocky, and so we have made it a switchback trail, which is longer but much, much less steep and easier to walk down. So we're just finishing that, and it's always top of mind for us to be able to really offer the experience to as many people as possible.
And it's something that's close to my heart. I worked for many years in healthcare as a certified disabilities coordinator. And, whenever I go on our walks and I get to that moment where I go, wow, which is often through the walk, it's like, it's almost like you really want to screen our walkers for, what are you on today? Because you are so exuberant. And it's just because we see the most incredible sunsets, you see the birds, you see all of this beauty. And for me, you know, if somebody has a disability, not to be able to partake in it is heartbreaking. So I know that other conservation committees and stuff are working hard on it as well. And you're never going to be able to take the woods and make it completely accessible, right? I mean,
Right.
it's just the way it is. However, if the people could still see portions of it, or even like
Exactly.
viewpoints, that would be phenomenal.
Right.
Your barn is a spectacular place. I've had several meetings there. Could you tell us a little bit about how that was built? Because I don't think most people realize the story behind the barn.
Yeah, it's a really fun story. So the barn is a three-season post and beam barn sitting on Route 149 at our Fuller Farm property, and we put it up in 2022. So it's still really new. But when we were thinking about what we needed, we thought about doing it in the most efficient way possible, in a way that sort of fit into the landscape as well as possible. And so we built a two-story barn into the hill, so that when you are on the street level, it only looks like it's one story. So it's not huge and doesn't overburden the landscape. Um, we had, and the bottom level is a garage for our stewardship team. So our staff and volunteers use it as a place to store all of our equipment, to take care of all of our land, and to work on the equipment. There's a little workshop in there, and also for our partner, Resilient Roots, which has a permaculture garden on the property. They store their equipment there too. So it is really an unbelievably great resource for us. The upstairs is for education and programming, like you've been able to take advantage of. And it was built over a 3.5 day period by an Amish family from Pennsylvania who came up with all of the lumber cut, put it all up, and it was just an amazing thing to watch. But they had it up in 3.5 days on top of the foundation that we had built. So it's an extraordinary place and a wonderful, wonderful place for us to be able to make visible the work that we do.
And it still smells like new car.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just beautiful. So,
yeah,
speaking of educational programs or resources, for those that are interested in more, can you speak about a couple that you know of that I mean, I know I've been to several of them at the barn,
yeah,
at Fuller
yeah.
Farm, but
Mhm.
what kinds of things do you offer?
Well, we offer so many things, and Sue Sullivan is our Director of Programs and Communications, probably the one that you work with. She has put together an amazing uh, set of events and programs for us this year, including in April, an Earth Month series, including a Mary Oliver poetry walk. We're participating in the Honor the Earth Fair with the Native Land Conservancy and the Wampanoag Tribe. We're doing a really fun Earth extravaganza with the Katuitt Library. In May, we have bird walks, we have book talks, we have Sandy Neck beach walks. And in June, we have our Hike Barnstable effort, which I think Nordic Walking has traditionally offered a program in our barn around that. And we're having a sort of a smaller version of our Thoreau event, which we did a couple of years ago, where we read Cape Cod, Thoreau's Cape Cod. This time we're reading Thoreau's Walking, and we're combining that with a piece from Rachel Carson. So that'll be in June. That'll be at the barn. Um, and in September, we have something called Environmental Awareness Month, focusing on climate conversations. And we have a trail hike actually in Woods Hole, where they have a really cool climate trail. Something called Marsh Madness. You can guess what that's about. And a walk around a newly restored bog in Marston's Mills. Um, and then in October, we focus more on the arts. So that's just a little taste of what Sue has.
It's amazing. Can I just say, first of all, today one of our hosts is doing a thorough walk. She's done several little walks that follow his path. And
Uh-huh.
she stops and she reads a piece of the literature. And it's just, she says at one point, so this is where he and his companion walked up. Can't you just picture them coming through the wood? I mean, it's just kind of funny because I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? And
Yeah.
I just want to do a shout out to Sue Sullivan, who's been an incredible joy to work with. You are so fortunate to have the team that you have, but she makes everybody feel welcome. I know from doing a lot of community outreach myself in my previous life that it's evenings, it's days, it's weekends, it's all the time, and she is extraordinary. So we love you, Sue. But anyway, so how can individuals, oftentimes people say, well, I want to do something, I want to volunteer, but I don't want something that's going to be like a full-time job.
Yeah.
How can I help? So how can individuals or members of our club, I know that I've offered, and I'm hoping you take us up on it, that if you have a specific trail to clean up, we've done it
Mhm.
for other conservation areas, and you say, hey, could you have a few of your people show up on a specific day that we
Yep.
have shown up? So how else can we help? How can we individually help?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and we need so much help. So there's a lot of different ways to help. One is, like as you suggest, helping us clean up trails. We do a lot of beach cleanups with the town every year, and also just trail maintenance. We have regular cleanup events once a month at Fuller Farm. So I think it's the first Friday in the morning. We have First Fridays at Fuller Farm, which is, anything from weeding, removing invasive species, picking up trash, trail maintenance. And then here at our office, Weeding Wednesdays will start soon. And that's managing the beds and the areas, the landscape around our office. So those are regular things. But then, you can volunteer to participate in our land stewards work, and that, you get on the list, you sign up, and you'll be notified every week about what the work is for that week, and you can come or not. That's everything from, mowing to burn piles to trail maintenance to seed saving, lots and lots of different opportunities there. And then we also really always need program hosts. So for all Sue's fantastic programs, we need help. People just taking names and being the sweep, and you're very experienced with all of those things.
Yeah.
So your people would be wonderful
Yes.
program hosts for us. And then sometimes we need help in the office too. So on our website, if you look in the top menu, you can click on support and then scroll down to volunteer, and you can fill out a volunteer form and see what all the options are. And then maybe what you want to do isn't on them. So just tell us what you want to do, and we probably need help there too.
Well, what's interesting is what I like about what you offer is a show and go. Like, for instance, sometimes people hesitate to commit to something because they don't want to be there 3 days a week or 2 days a week. But, if they receive a notice saying, hey, this Friday we're doing this, and they are available and they want to do it, then it's an option that they have. So it's a lot less, the responsibilities there. Most people want to succeed and be accountable to what they sign up for, but you make it
Right.
very, very easy. Hey, listen, I was just thinking of something. Could you tell me a little bit about the wooden signs that you have on some of your trails? Because I don't think some of these folks have experienced or seen them.
The poems.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So this is part of a Words in the Wild project, another of Sue's great creative partnerships with the Yarmouth Cultural Center. And the Lauren Mulk, who was there then, found four poets, local poets, and we picked four sites on our properties, and the poets went there and were inspired to write poems, which then a team of students um, used this special system to engrave the poems on blocks of wood, which now sit in the place where the inspiration happened. So there's one in the woods at Fuller Farm. There's one out back behind our office. There's at least one at Eagle Pond. And they're really beautiful, beautiful poems. So you will just happen upon them, or you can go on our website and find where they are. There's now 8 of them. And it's just a fun way to experience nature, in a different way through words.
And the partnership with the schools, you kind of combined all of it, so nicely, are there any challenges that you as a land trust come across that you'd like us to be more aware of, and perhaps in some way we can influence it or help out with? Anything you can think of?
Um, just visibility, letting people know about us. You know about all of our trail maps, but sharing that information, um, telling people who we are. Most people think that the town owns all the land, but in fact, we do own some of it. The town does own a lot more of it, but we do own some, and um, just yeah, spreading the word, helping people learn about trail etiquette.
Right.
That's a challenge, as I'm sure you know.
Yes, we do.
People and dogs, and it's really important for us to make it safe and comfortable for everybody. So that's another way, helping people, reminding people what trail etiquette is.
And, we are a Leave No Trace principled group, and we really work very hard on that. And it's safety wise, I mean, we try to encourage people to do what they can, but we want to do it in a safe manner, right? And, some people have bad experiences with dogs, and I feel really, I love dogs. I have a dog, but I'm very conscious about using right etiquette when you're on a trail, especially with a dog. The other thing I wanted to highlight that those of you that may not know, I am an immigrant to this country. My first language is Portuguese. And what I was so impressed with was that the trail maps have been translated into
Yep,
Portuguese and Spanish, I believe.
just Portuguese at
Portuguese.
this
Okay.
point. Yeah,
Well, and
yeah,
and you know what? It makes sense because the number
yeah,
one language on Cape Cod, other than English, is Português, força
yeah.
português. So, I really commend you for doing that. I am trying really hard to encourage our Brazilian and our Haitian community to join our group. And,
Hmm.
I could do a walk in Portuguese, but, I would do the training, I would do the clinic in Portuguese. However, I feel strongly that when people are walking with us, they would learn English and then they could also teach us about their culture. So it would
Yes.
be a nice symbiotic type of relationship. So again, I cannot thank you enough for everything you guys do. I think that you're very right in thinking that when people see Barnstable, they think it's the town
Hmm.
and they don't
Hmm.
always know the difference. And they should stop by and just check out your Fuller Farm. It's an incredible
Yeah,
piece of work. I think if
yeah,
we could, we should have the Amish come down and build houses all over the Cape like that in 3 days.
yeah.
But thank you so much, and thank you for being such a wonderful partner with us. And we will absolutely continue our relationship. And I hope for those of you that are out there that have not checked them out, please do so. Please consider becoming a member, making a contribution of any kind, whether it's money, a piece of property, or just physical labor or helping out, spreading the word. So thanks again, Janet. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carla. We really appreciate working with you. Anyone is welcome to come by our office here, 1540 Main Street in West Barnstable. Check out our website, blt.org. I love the idea of your leading a hike for the Portuguese speaking members of our community. Let's do it.
Let's do it together. Absolutely. If I
Yes.
would need help to recruit some people, but I certainly could do that. And I think that that would just open up so many other areas, right? Because they're such
Yep.
a resilient part of our community.
Hmm.
So, I mean, literally, I think some of the businesses on the Cape would cease to exist if it wasn't for that specific population of immigrant, hardworking people. So I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you.